All right, guys, we're back again with another 351 swap video. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching. I hope you're having a great day. So we're going to talk some more about intakes, what will fit, what you need, and give you kind of a better understanding of what's going to fit and kind of how much you're looking to spend. Stick with me. Okay, so on a 351 swap, the tough part, or I guess the new part, is that a deck height on a 351 Windsor is taller, so it's a 9.5 instead of an 8.2. Well, what does that mean to you? So that means that the from head to head, where the intake mounts, is wider than a 302. So none of your 302 intakes will work as far as the lower is concerned. You have to get a 351 specific lower intake manifold. And this is probably going to be the more expensive piece of your 351 swap puzzle. If you're looking for a brand new intake manifold, look it up on either Summit or Jags or Speedway. Amazon has the same stuff too. You're probably looking around 500 to 800 bucks for a brand new intake manifold. There's a lot of cheaper ones out there. You can get some of the knockoffs like the Professional Products. They've got a lot of stuff that'll work. You just have to look. There's a lot of forums you can look online too, a lot of Facebook groups, a lot of stuff like that. You can find used parts. You just have to be quick on the draw. One of my previous videos, I had a different intake manifold, and it's the Super Victor EFI, but I found out later it was a knockoff, right? So it wasn't a true Edelbrock. It was like the Professional Products knockoff of that. But they make those that's a carb style intake that's EFI, and all you have to do is get an elbow. But even then, you're 300 bucks for a manifold, couple $100 for an elbow. I mean, it's not cheap. So it's probably the most expensive part of the 351 swap, in my opinion. It's what I ran into also. I got a smoking deal. I happened to, before I even started my swap, I found a guy on a Facebook page that was selling a whole intake setup because he was going a different route. You can sometimes get lucky, but like the truck intake manifolds, the factory ones, they sit way too high. You'll never clear a stock hood. And they just don't make that good of power. They're made for torque low down, not for horsepower. If that's what you're looking for, great. You can use it, cut a hole in your hood, and let it fly. But typically, like the first gen Lightnings, the 351s or the 5.8s, they came with a GT40 intake manifold specific to the 351. And I use that on my car, and I'll put some pictures and videos up here if you guys haven't seen those videos. But that intake manifold, when I got it, I got the complete engine from a Lightning. That's how I did my swap. I got the accessories, I got everything. Panda intake, I got the entire setup. I didn't want to search for parts, so I did it that way. And I got the whole drivetrain, the ECU, everything. It was like 2,000 bucks. But for those of you looking to do it on the cheap, the intake manifold is going to be the expensive part. So do some rummaging around. The GT40 stuff for the Lightnings are really expensive nowadays. I mean, it's upwards $600-700 last time I looked. They're getting very rare, and most people don't want to part with them just because it's nostalgia purposes. I sold one a while back for $450, one that I had on my original swap. So what I would suggest that you guys do is look for an intake manifold that's used. You'll be able to get a good deal, clean it up, repurpose it, use it if you're on a budget. New ones, you can check Summit, Jags, like I said before, all those places. You can get a brand new one. Just make sure that it's for a 351 Windsor and it's EFI. If you're going carb, there's a lot cheaper options. Your intake manifolds are like $300 to $400, but then you've got to do a lot of changes to your fuel system. So, I mean, I guess I wouldn't say a lot of changes. You can use the in-tank pump, but you've got to regulate the fuel down to like 6 to 12 psi, and it's just there's more to it. So either way, I prefer EFI, so I'd go that route. I would highly suggest you guys go that route. If you do a carb setup, do like a carb style EFI setup. Fast EFI's got a whole bunch of stuff. Everybody's got basically a throttle body injection EFI system available now, but a couple $1,000 for that. So It really, in my opinion, the factory Ford ECU with either a chip or a standalone ECU that plugs into it with an EFI manifold is your best way to go. The intake manifold is just the more expensive piece of the puzzle, so you're probably going to have to bite the bullet. This intake manifold, so this is actually a cleaver swap for those of you guys who haven't seen the video. It is still 351 block, but I put Cleveland heads on, and this is a specific intake manifold that was $800. There's no other way around it for me. I already had the heads, so it was either spend $800 on the intake manifold or spend $2,000 on heads and another $600 in an intake manifold. So for me, it was a little cheaper. But at any rate, your intake manifold, do some digging. You cannot use 302 lowers. Now, if you by chance find a 351 lower and you can port match a 302 upper, you could probably make that work. I didn't look into it because I didn't want to have to mess with it. But you could look into a 351 lower from a junkyard, just a factory EFI manifold, and try to make a 302 upper fit on it. I'm not sure where you'd get with that. It would probably be a lot of work in machining and a lot of time. But if your time is something that you've got to spare and your money isn't, it might be an option. So maybe try looking at that route. Guys, hopefully this has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, I will answer them as best I can. Drop them in the comments below. I appreciate you watching. Let me know what you'd like to see next. I've got some more 351 swap videos that I'll be coming out with. I'm going to talk some more about your pressure plate, flywheel, what you need in that aspect. There's a lot that I've got coming, so stay tuned, guys. I appreciate you watching. Have a good one.